Welcome to the Lemurian Starchild Template. We are here with Susanne McKinnon as a special guest, and we are your hosts. I'm Michael Kroon, and this is
Leanne Carpenter.
And for the Lemurian Starchild Template, go into the Oracle cards from our new Oracle deck, and we look at co-creating abundance and healing in the world and building meaningful relationships. So we're going to start with a little guided meditation. We're going to call in Archangel Michael. We're going to call in the Pleiadian guides. And I'm just going to follow that flow. So let's listen to your breath for a moment. And in your breath, you find beautiful light codes. Visualize that with every breath, light codes are flowing into your body. Codes of peace, codes of pacification, of bringing everything to peace, codes of receiving love, codes of sharing love. And with each breath, you also connect to your guides. Connect to Archangel Michael. Connect to the Pleiadian guides of light. And allow them to breathe as well, because they are breathing their codes of light. You can pick them up with your ears and with your sixth senses, with your multidimensional senses. Allow these codes of light from your family of light to be received by your body, mind, and soul, to assist in a process of clearing the decks of healing and co-creating abundance and healing for the new earth. With every breath, another light family member comes in to assist, because there are many. And in this process, your main guides stay around you. Perhaps Archangel Michael, cosmic or Lemurian beings, oversee this process. With each breath, another guide or healing light being comes in to be of assistance. And so you allow this group to become larger and larger and more multidimensional, because you're connecting to all the different dimensions, layers, and kingdoms within the angelic hierarchy even. Elemental beings, cosmic beings. There's no difference between the different dimensions. They all created from love. The difference is only in how they express. Allow your elders, your ancestors that are in the realms of light to be with you now. For it is their shoulders that you are also standing on in this moment. And they also accelerate their process from your co-creation and new earth manifestations. Susanne, your light language.
Marinai osin marisitalis monturim alisa kalachlin Cantarim susim Marias Carum tas illachlius orim arasim nadaika Eta shiata makola Near side.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Oh, it's beautiful.
I'm feeling Leanne's light language as well.
This colour is going up from the heart, the third eye and the crown. Beautiful, warm pink and orange.
That's beautiful. They'll gain art elachris. Oh,
I received that as gold. Seeing many beautiful kingdoms of light.
oh. I feel our star teams having a meeting.
Yeah. What are you getting, Susanne?
My entire field is flooded with colour. Whenever Leanne and I am in any connection, it's like I'm not, the multi-dimensional part of me is actually flowing. It's not even on a sofa, it's in the air. It doesn't really have a particular form. It's just consciousness, and I am floating in waves of light and colour. It's very much of the pink and blue, like pale colours with light, and the light is so many, like when I say diamond, I mean it's multi-reflective. It has a qualitative field that we don't yet ordinarily experience through our corneas on this earth, and yet there are some there are some human beings who are now attuning to decode through the cornea, through the actual physical eye, these waves and these colours. So they are already, the fields are in existence. Everything is as it is. All we are doing is we are filtering out less and less and reconnecting our light bodies more and more to be able to see this information and to feel it.
Sounds brilliant. So shall we all take a breath together and just these colors in every cell?
I was just about to say it's like a full body experience, actually.
Yeah. Just want to guide everyone who's watching into that as well. Let's breathe for a moment. I'm just gonna make a feet tone if I can. What do my feet sound like today? And you can join in. So I want to ask you something, Susanne.
Anything.
You ready?
I'm seeing that. I saw a big pearl lotus open.
How did your feet bring you to this point on your journey?
Was it her feet?
Yeah.
My feet. How did my feet walk? I like the question.
On your life path, I mean.
Yeah.
Here with us.
My feet brought you into my field of vision for no coincidence. Yeah, I mean, I came here fully open as I was birthed into the planet, shut down, like many people do, because of the overwhelm of experience at full opening. And it was maybe a number of experiences throughout childhood and throughout my 20s and 30s, you know, small incidences, many of which I just pushed away. And like many, just had a pretty regular life and built my life upon the belief systems that I'd taken on.
Right.
And then in 2012, I had a young family, and we were approaching the solstice, and I had the strongest feeling in all of my being to go to Stonehenge for the solstice. This was not somewhere I'd visited before. I thought most things were pretty woo-woo, you know, like crystals and angels, right, and people with purple hair and fairies were just complete woo-woo. Even though I was a Reiki master at this point, I was in a clinic working in the field of holistic therapy, but with a very clinical approach, because I had a lot of residual repressed fear of my ability. And so I went to Stonehenge and I heard a sound activation there, which was profound, and I didn't really understand it. And then I heard a voice that told me to go to Avebury, found it on a map in my car, drove there. It was before I had GPS, and had an experience there where I fell asleep against a stone, and 8 days later I got like a flu virus, an experience of flu-ish symptoms, and fell asleep, and in that experience I experienced where time collapses, where we go into no time, and then it expands into all time. And in that moment, in that time, the soul that I am now came in, and the soul that I had done its time and its purpose. So I've had quite an interesting journey since then, and I repressed it all, and then it filtered so fast. But it was 2016 when it finally went, and I had a full remembering, which is still going on, because we are only hitting the very tip point right now, and it's a beautiful journey. Very deep.
That's so interesting, isn't it? When you can go from, well, that's woo-woo to, that's actually me.
Well, you fear the things that you are, of course, because we're not separate from anything. So
I can remember this was about, I don't know, 30 years ago, and I had an awakening, But I was really into psychology. I'd kind of been through art college, went into psychology, and I was reading a psychology book that was very interesting to me by a lovely author called Robin Norwood. And I got to the back where it said about other books that she'd written. There was something about past lives, and I've been thinking, this is amazing. But I mean, I had this awakening, but I even had experiences of past lives, but I'd so repressed it because they weren't very nice remembrances when I was a teenager. That when I read this, that she'd written a book about past lives, I was just like, oh my God, I thought she was amazing. I thought she was such a good author. And I was like, really like, oh no, she's lost the plot. So I know what it's like to sort of kind of see from the other side.
I think I had a vague notion of, there were some things I was kind of into, like, you know, UFOs and sci-fi. You know, I think I did have a sense of the afterlife, the other side, because I was interested in ghosts and stuff. But the notion of past lives is an interesting one, because of course there is no past, it's just present. It's that has been one of the deepest understandings of this process, is that not just embracing the other experiences that we're having in the one moment and what that brings to our experience, but that there's so many layers that, and it goes so deep, because most past life, of course, concentrates on what it is to be in a human form. But as we all know, we have had experiences in many forms, and not just the forms that we're perhaps familiar with. You know, there are many conscious life forms which are beyond, you know, what in the multi-dimensional space, what most people might term as having a solid formation. So, but it's all consciousness, and we can bring through these experiences, you know, whether we experience them as, I don't want to really say good or bad, I would like to say however we choose to experience them or re-experience them, is the learning for what we need right now. We only remember what we need right now. And it's that I can understand if you hit a book of anything where it doesn't matter whether it's a past life or whether it's crystals or whether it's the consciousness of trees, but anything that provides a gateway beyond where you currently are, where your current field is a blessing, because it's a signal to you that you have a limitation somewhere. And that perhaps is, you know, that's why these readings are so important, why this work is important, because we're expanding our view and we're going deeper into magic. The magic of what we are. Magic. We are, you know, we are expansive, we're creative, we are highly intelligent human beings. You know, we have unlimited capabilities, but we're just compressed at the moment, and we're you know, we have to get with our brain. We can't deny the biology of our form. So we're kind of in this massive process at the moment, but oh my, do we have help, which is great, because it's actually us helping us, but in such a beautiful way. That's the dance. That's what I love doing. My whole day, like, everybody comes together. You know, we meet, we come together. And this is, you know, it's just going to expand this type of living, this type of contact, the way that we come together and together we create. This is the new way. This is a fifth dimensional way where there's no barriers. I'm not better than you. I'm not more learned than you. In this moment, we are all one. Even everybody watching this, you are in a field. You're in a wide field of everything, but you're in our field as well.
So Susanne,
beautiful. Sorry,
are you ready for a card?
I am so ready.
Oh, let's do it.
I love what you do. Bring it on.
I just felt to say something about it's interesting that we brought that up, because I'm feeling that there may be people watching that perhaps are in that place that we were in, where we were repressing the woo-woo because it didn't make sense, or we needed some solidity and grounding within our being. And certainly that's a place that we can all recognize, isn't it, when things kind of get a little bit overwhelming and we become ungrounded and we search for something to cling on to, and that for me at one point was consensus reality, like the old paradigm in a way.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling that maybe, part of this today is about being a bridge, helping people to understand that journey, and that it is just a step on the journey, and that there isn't anything to be scared of, actually.
Right.
Because embracing your multidimensionality.
That's beautiful.
Well, it is. It's a lot of what I do in my, professional life. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Which I help people when they're sliding down the walls and going, and to try and hold on and understand, to give context.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fears that come up, the limitations, the grief, all of our human ways, and how much we judge ourselves, because there's going to be people watching this that are really hammering down on their self-judgment as well.
I've got a card for you. Pick one on the screen. No, Leanne will pick one.
Leanne's going to do it for me, because she's in my heart. She's totally connected last year.
Breathe the sun.
Wow. That's so very topical.
Oh, good.
Okay.
This is part of reminding us to enjoy that outpouring, that constant outpouring of love and of light, represented by the sun, but that's kind of representing, source for me. And then there's the central sun, which is even higher vibration, but it's all source. And it's all a gift that we can receive through our crown chakras. And there's the turtle. Oops, the turtle. Yeah.
That's perfect. So share on the screen.
Yeah. And it's basking in the shallow water, the warm water, receiving the sunshine. And its little shell is opening like a pine cone, representing the pineal gland opening. And as the pineal gland opens, then the magic gets unleashed.
Oh, so great. Nice. I'm very close to the sun. So I received recently, living in Portugal since December. When I went back into the sun, I started to see geometry, to see codes emanating from the sun and sun codes, and I've begun to record and to produce codes from the sun. It's we see it as just being sometimes we see it as being just a stellar body, made of matter doing its job, which it does. It provides electromagnetic radiation in the full spectrum, but also it is a living consciousness. And, we're all open towards receiving the grace of that consciousness.
Absolutely. And I think there's an initiation with the sun. That's been my experience, where you start to become aware of what it's up to, with its emanations and solar coronal mass ejections and flow.
And it's been very strong, Brianne. But those people watching this, they may not be fully aware that there is a lot of activity with our local solar body at the moment with the sun, and that is and does have a profound effect on all of our being, but particularly those of us that are sensitive. And open, and we are, this electromagnetic radiation is helping to evolve us. It's helping to open us. It's helping to increase our awareness and to develop our third, fourth eye, even our fifth. The extrasensory perceptions that we will have as we move forward.
That's brilliant. We put this together with the Blu-ray. So. Life path, isn't it? And purpose. So, blue and yellow. That's a lovely combination, isn't it?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love this.
Kind of angelic light coming in as well.
It's so beautiful.
And as the pineal opens, we start to remember, and have access more easily, don't we, to our higher levels where we're coming from a very multidimensional kind of place beyond the soul, even where we can see the soul pathway and journeys, these scars, and wounds that we've been picking up and replaying through different incarnations, but that we're letting go of now as we're realizing, we don't need that because we can just be open and a pure channel, for the source light, for the love, it can come through our being. It's not like we have to eradicate our being, but just open our eyes to our true being and our true
our true self, the I am. The I am. It's so underrated. I am source. We deny this truth, which is natural. We worry and we self-judge about feeling this pure love that we really are. And you're so right that when we emanate, when we can just move into the flow and we begin to become this emanation of light that we are, even if you can't see it, it doesn't matter. It's where you're at. You can feel it. If you can't feel it, just know it. There isn't any right or wrong or particular stage. We don't have these delineations anymore. So when you can emanate on any level, you become a producer, and that is an outward, expansive, creative way of being. Whereas our way of being up until this point as humans has been contractive. We are in contraction. We have to protect. We have to fight. We're keeping the wolf from the door. And it's such a change. It's such a change that's going on. It's a beautiful shift. But we frequently can move between the two, and that's where all this, like the washing machine of life.
Well, let's look where it brings us. We're going to look at the dolphin baby, which is about the inner child's dreams. So we're going to go from the life purpose, the breathing these light codes and breathing the sun. Seeing what the dolphin baby's up to.
It's the last one in the back.
Oh, a blessing.
Oh,
that's lovely. You've got a blessing, Dan.
I can feel this all this light coming in. Did you say dolphins just before? Because this is what I've just got.
The baby dolphin,
pod of dolphins was just like.
Let's show them both next to each other.
So the baby dolphin. Oh, well, we can do it here. No? Baby dolphin is the aspect of you, the part of your Lemurian Starchild.
Just put it on this.
I'm shaking now. That's so beautiful.
So that aspect of you is the child outside of time that's just naturally floating of love. The little child you know, but one that a part of you that you can access at any time. It's the I guess it's the trusting little dolphin, you know, who's in the flow, receiving God's love, flowing with it.
It's funny, you know, they're one of the first, you know, when we talk about these creatures, these, you know, it can seem mythical, and I would have, you know, a few years ago just gone, oh yeah, just the woman that's me sitting here go, what is she carping on about? Dolphins? Yet I went to light the fire, I think it was in 2016, I went to light the fire in the winter time, and as I went to light the fire, a dolphin energy came through my back, through my face, and I became the dolphin. And most importantly, there was the love. It was a feeling of love. It was an overwhelming feeling of love, and it took my vibration so high. And that was dolphin light. That was our dolphin.
That's a dolphin blessing, isn't it?
Friends coming in, and that is, it's such a beautiful, if you've received it, you know, if anyone watching this has received this, and today receiving this light, it's so fine and so beautiful, very healing, very deeply healing. It's a beautiful energy.
During a fire ceremony?
No, it happened as I was in my regular life, not thinking about anything spiritual. No, I was actually thinking that I had to go and get on and do something else, and I just wanted to light the fire to warm up the room. And I was just going to light it, and at that moment, that was the preordained moment for me to awaken, and it was actually a dolphin called Nyala, who has been with me ever since, and she's one of 3 dolphins that help me in healing and in the work that I do in other realms.
It's an unintended fire ceremony. It was
an unintended fire ceremony. At the time, I wouldn't have even known what a fire ceremony was.
Yeah, amazing.
Nothing
just comes through, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing like that.
Yeah, like a dolphin blessing for your inner child.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, and it feels like you know, your inner child is giving a lot of blessings and receiving a lot of blessings. So that's really
it's part of what we find, isn't it, on this journey of opening to access our the child is what we really are. That's what we really are. We really are the child, and we forget that we are the child. We're so held in.
Yeah.
We are a child and an elder. And everything in
yeah, to play. I mean, this I can feel the energy of this pack, this deck, everything about it is playful. It's playful of exploration, playful of spirit, playful of expanding out. And that's what children are. They're unrestricted, they're expansive, they're uninhibited. Yeah. And that's how it's teaching us to be like that, you know, just through this exploration, even. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So this card, Susanne, is coming forward with this message about seeing the light in everything, seeing the sacredness of everything, which blesses what may have been asleep itself. So like when we wake up, the crystals, you know, because they can pick up energies that are not honouring and acknowledging them as a part of, they're also part of source, you know.
Exactly.
Sacred creation, everything is.
I had a lesson the other morning, actually. Is it okay just to talk about that?
Yeah.
We share stuff, definitely.
This is so important, because when you speak, when either of you speak, it's like I will just get you know, directly, that is what needs to come through. I'm so clean now. that I don't need to, it just comes straight. So I'll be very succinct, I promise, Ilet. So the other day, maybe 3 weeks ago, I'm sitting at a table having breakfast. I have a banana, and this is my breakfast. I don't really need to eat a great deal of physical food. I do eat some, but so I had the banana, and I'm just about to stick it in my mouth. I had it in my thumbs, and I looked down. The banana has glued itself to my fingers. My fingers are stuck onto the banana, and I cannot move them. And I am elevated, so I know there's something here. And it says, "You don't see me." And I'm just like, I do see you. I always bless my food. I do. And so my friend was sitting opposite, and I said, I'm about to have a conversation with a banana. This is really happening. And it was getting indignant. It was saying, what do you don't notice me? What it was getting at was that we can go through lots of things, even we bless things, we say things because we think that's what we're supposed to do, because this makes us more spiritual. Because it's very spiritual. If we do these things, we feel better. But actually, everything we do, every action that we take, it must come from the place of the heart. It must come from this place of awareness. And when it does, there is another quality that develops. It's a quality of source. It's your interaction with the divine nature of yourself. You're only talking to yourself. So in that recognizing of the banana, so anything that we do, even just a glass of water, if we recognize it from our hearts as divinity, as source, as part of our self and not something external, then as we ingest it, as we take it in, even if we're looking at something and taking it in, it nourishes us. It feeds us, and it feeds us on a level that perhaps so far we haven't become aware of. How we're getting nourished on these other levels.
Yes, absolutely. So when you do it,
and it clears all the emotional density that might be stuck to the substance, isn't it? Because not only water has a memory, but everything has.
Everything.
Yeah, and when you eat the food, it's like you've eaten it on a subtle level, because you've created all of the different vibrations within, of source within that food. So you've ingested it on a spiritual level before you've even eaten it. That's what I have experienced myself as well when I bless the food.
And cooking, when you're even cooking, just putting the love, even everything. I mean, it just goes into everything, doesn't it? Really,
it's kind of being conscious, I guess, isn't it? And aware, of that there's more to life on a very real and deep level.
Yeah, definitely. When I was just like 2 or 3 years ago, I was in London and I just couldn't drink the water because there's so much in it. And I would just get really sick if I drank 1 glass of London water. But I've learned to repolarize it and to bless it to clear the densities. So that's helped me so much. It's such a difference, isn't it? When you can just change those molecules if they contain any densities.
Yeah, you're transmuting the state of the vibrational field in a quantum field.
It's definitely
of the carriers of the information. It's not at all woo-woo. It's actually a state of vibrational density that's changing.
And so much better to do that before you put it in your mouth, isn't it?
Yes. You can do it retrospectively.
Can we just go back in the timeline and retrospectively
rewind
the timeline, right?
Bless everything that we've ever ingested? I think we probably can. Do you know, I've never thought about that, and do you know what? I'm even going to write it down.
Yes,
it is actually something I might meditate on. So thank you.
Yeah. I was just going to say something about for viewers that haven't tried this, just to sit quietly with your food and just to tune into the food and just to give thanks for it, because actually what you're doing by being open to it and grateful for it, it will show itself to you in its truth. You know, it's source intention. You know, that's what I get when I connect with the food. I might see something else, but you know, I might pick up other stuff that's gone on top of it, but you can just clear that and send it to the light, you know.
Yeah, and losing the guilt, sorry, Michael, as well, and losing the guilt as well, because, you know, it's that thing, it has to be like a carrot or a lemon, but what if it's a piece of carrot cake? Yeah, what if it's a piece of chocolate? You know, that's like losing the guilt and just appreciating it, whatever it is.
I want to go on, guys, because I want to hear a bit about, you know, your journey, Susanne, if that's all right. And have a look at the indigo.
Yeah, I'm a dolphin. See, I just trust everything will flow just as it's meant to, and I just feel my way with the currents.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's got a watch on or something.
No, but just kind of, you know, finish, well, not finish, but continue with what we're doing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awakening.
So, here we go with the awakening card, which is has a message for the indigo part of you, which is the part that carries a passion and let's say a kind of a will, maybe, due to that vision that the indigo child has of seeing things maybe as they feel they should be, and when they're not in alignment, there's that kind of dissonance and discomfort sometimes. So the card that's come for you is, in relation to that, is know who you are, and that you're having a DNA activation. So that's the card.
Oh yeah, let's show that on the screen.
Okay.
For the indigo, right?
Yeah. Indigo child card as it is at the moment, but that might change.
You mean the art?
Yeah, it's deep. Yeah, it's deep. That is very deep. Okay. Yeah, my current state at the moment is in that very, very state of having had an awakening, you know, which has had many, many layers, many deaths, many rebirths over 3 years. There is now a much deeper layer, rather than sometimes when we open, it can be like extreme experiences, you know, lots of things, lots of new things that you become aware of, and that can challenge you. It can cause challenges in your life, lots of things, and then it does come through to a place where you're more in an equilibrium. You've absorbed these and you've assimilated these things, and now there is a deeper awakening happening for me of heart, of the I am presence, and bringing in that which I have regarded as external in the past, in knowing that it is me, and acknowledging that when I'm channeling, when I'm communicating with these perceived external beings, they are actually also myself. The I am position, and that is an expansion, and it's a deep one, and I cry. I have been crying And probably by the time this broadcasts, I'll have a reputation for crying a lot. Because it's so, when it's holy, when we're in a very holy and deep place, the tears just come out. And there's an acceptance of that, because it takes us very deep into who we are, but also who we perhaps have been, with the many masks, and particularly our spiritual personality that we develop in the early stages of awakening, and letting that fall, letting all of the masks fall, all of those former current distortions of self fall, to peel back ever so gently and ever so gracefully into who we are. And it is gentle. It is. There's no hammers. There's no force. There's no. You don't feel like you're falling. It's so graceful. You're held. It's so held, and it's very beautiful. So very poignant card for me, because that is where I am right now, Michael.
Can I say a few things about that?
Oh, see, yeah.
Because I've been on this spiritual path, and I've been in the non-dual process, let's just say like that. And what you're speaking of is like the personality self kind of falling away into state of pure oneness consciousness, and that's so beautiful. And then at the same time, it's like you sort of learning to be one and also make distinctions at the same time, isn't it? Because some people you can trust and others you can't, for example. That's a very
well, yeah, there's some people who I would reframe that and say that there are people who are at a stage that they're at, that there is no right and wrong for that stage, and if you have them in compassion and in kindness, then you would not bring the full extent of your awareness to them, because that might cause them some distress and harm. So that we do manage that, our communications, we learn to manage our communications more effectively. Sorry, I'm not apologizing. It's just this is the channeling, and it's very direct.
Very well said. Yeah.
It just comes. If I tried to say these things, Michael, they wouldn't probably come out. So
it's a flow, isn't it?
Yeah.
When let's just say your higher self and your earth self one in that. Yes. In that flow, I feel it's an amazing process, isn't it?
It's beautiful, rich. The surrendering. Pretty much everything in my life as it was as a regular person. There's going to be people that I had a job, regular job, house, middle class life. Family life. It was very, very normal, very, very normal, and everything fell. It's like all the towers fell. Everything that I believed in, every belief system, even all the books, all the teachings, everything.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Away. It all falls away. We're peeling back the layers. It's a beautiful process, and even the bits that we struggle with, the very, very deep things, we carry harm, hurt, trauma, these heavy things within us, these experiences. Even in awakening, we experience rejection, ridicule, all kinds of things, people being jealous, people not understanding, people being triggered, and it can be really difficult. And I know I went through pretty much, I'm sure you guys have as well, experienced this. It's all there for our teaching. Everything is there for our teaching. But when you're in it, it can be so challenging.
Yeah, absolutely.
So challenging.
Right. That's been my experience as well. Definitely. And I think what you come out of those experiences with is a clarity of heart and a gentleness and an understanding, a compassion, a compassion that kind of can see through, the old paradigm stuff with other people, because like you say, you recognize that everything is made of love and has come from love, but along the way of that emanation, people have and places kind of pick up something that's other, but it's a much later thing. The pure energy is still there, isn't it, underneath? And I think that we learn to discern with our bodies, because we can't always. I think because it's a process of awakening where you realise you will become awake to your own truth and whether you resonate with what you were told, what you were taught, or what you're being.
And the other person that's in front of you is just a reflection. It's reflecting qualities. I haven't seen a single human being yet that does not have this light and is not love, no matter what they're portraying, no matter how we look at them or
absolutely
at our own projections onto them. I just see love. I see love, and that it wasn't there at the start. Not by any means. I have judgments. So many, and I pick myself up still. This is human. However, what develops is compassion. What develops is forgiveness. What develops is kindness, and that's part of the journey. It's part of the unfolding process. So then you see what the trigger is, you recognize it inside, and then you come past all of that, what you were saying just now, all of the stuff that's on top of that person, and you see what's in there, and then you connect, and then there's so much forgiveness and compassion for anything they do or say. It changes your life. It is life-changing. I know there's people that have written great books about this, I'm sure, more eloquently than I could say. But it's a core principle now for me in practice.
It's an interesting process because I can chime in as well with when you wake up and you get to these meditative states and you see in light all the pain and, like you say, rejection and kind of bodily discomfort kind of comes up as well. So I can definitely relate to all that. It's a very interesting process, and it's just making that bridge, isn't it? What we talked about earlier. Making that bridge to the earthly life and sharing that. So I think that really ties in with the next one as well, which is the Archangel, which is activity and also strength. And it can be that place where you've shared your light, where you've possibly been wounded as well.
Yeah.
Just kind of have a look at that.
Yeah. Sorry. I can't get it. Where's it gone? Oh, didn't move the deck. I'm feeling which one it is.
Yeah, it wasn't changing.
You had your finger on it.
It was falling between my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's that one.
Oh, what's that?
It's Divine Masculine.
Divine Masculine.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So, you're an angel for the Divine Masculine.
I'm not sure I can go with that, but it's something that I have definitely got woundings with. For sure, because that is where I lived most of my life, in that place, in the Divine Masculine, denying the very quiet voice of the Divine Feminine. So it's, actually, you said before, this where could be where the wounding is. The divine masculine for me was my survivor, was my strength, was the warrior. You know, particularly, you know, obviously in life experiences, you know, the family that I chose to be born into, that environment was challenging. You know, as an empath, my world was challenging. You know, this is how we are. Anybody that feels develops this shield, this, you know, I'm not going to feel, I'm not going to express emotion, I'm going to be strong, I'm going to survive. Anything I do, I adapt to survive. These are all the models in there. And so even in the awakening process, for a great majority, and to conquer my fears, you know, I'm using the word conquer because that is where I was at. That's how I saw it, not how I see it now. So things come up and they're so intense, so intense, some of these experiences, particularly if we're going into the shadow side, you know, the dark night of the soul. The only way through that I could see at the time, because I was in the divine masculine, was to be a warrior, to have the courage to stand, to get through it. But what I was doing was, some of it was pushing down the woundings which were held in my physical being, the actual field, you know, how we actually do hold the woundings of our encounters with life is also held in physical energy, in the physical being. And I was denying a lot of this stuff just to stand up and just to keep going, you know, to get up in the morning and go to work, to get up and make food, just to get out of bed some days, because it was so very intensive. And what happened was, as I began to open and heal the divine masculine and heal my divine masculine, that process is ongoing. The feminine side, the one that was really denied, the voice that was so quiet, began to talk. She began to come too, and she began to converse. And so now there's no denial of the masculine. There is so much strength there. All of in my work, the Arcturian, the mathematics, the technical codes that come through me, you know, I can speak openly, the codes, the maps for technology, the light ships, the things I see, the geometry, this is all held in that part of me. But what I have now is also a richness, the rich quality of the colour, the feeling, the depth, the gentleness, the goddess, the mother, the earth. And it's all starting now to come together. You know, this, we tend to go into one or the other. I don't know but you know about you guys, but I think we can orientate or gravitate more into one or the other. And as we come up and we unfold, we then start to come to more of an equilibrium, more of a, and then it flows. You know, we begin to do the dance. You know,
Definitely. Because I was gravitating towards the feminine at one point when I was healing a lot in my 20s. I was definitely more tuning to that energy, and it can look a bit strange maybe, but it's just helpful to feel that divine feminine. And then the divine masculine, you know, that sometimes we call the shadow of the masculine, the false masculine, as well, because, you know, that's how we can be. That's our culture, isn't it? Like, don't show your feelings. That's how we
be a man.
Brought up.
Be a man. You know. Be a man. That's just, you know, it's we've got all these very strong signals coming through in society and in media, and you know, we've got to break through them. We've just got to break on through inside, you know.
Yeah.
It's strong. I mean, it's a big subject. You could talk for at least an hour or more just on that one thing. It's
But
big.
it's
It's
very
so relevant. It's so relevant, that card.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful card.
But
I
it's
can
so,
feel the energy. It's a
it's
healing.
kind of touching, you know, because you've got the divine masculine for the earth angel, Susanne.
Yes.
So that means, you know, your angelic self, you know, has been, you know, healing the masculine, and you know that could be in any situation, maybe in family situations or with friends, and perhaps it can be without words, you know. So I find that very interesting.
Yeah, and I'm sure
That's very insightful. Thank you.
Sure, as we find the divine masculine within ourselves, you know, the true divine masculine, which I feel emerges out of the healing with the divine feminine, you know, it is a truly a different experience altogether than the masculine, you know, that we've been brought up to understand as masculine.
Yeah. Well, it is, and we don't surrender to that either. You know, that's been the biggest thing, actually, is for me to surrender to divine masculine. And funnily enough, very topically, the person or two people, three even, who've just been in my life recently are all men. They're all in the divine masculine. And my journey with each one and the teachings have been about surrender to the divine masculine, to allowing my divine surrender to masculine. The softness.
That's when you can really trust, when you're in a space of real trust, isn't it?
It feels like trust and safety to me, but I was going to say, what does it mean to you? Yeah.
Yes, it's because I never felt safe, and I two things. I was not ready to accept love. I did not feel worthy of love, and that's a deep wounding, a huge wounding, and that I were, some of it was I was unclean. I did not feel pure to accept the divine feminine, and I did not trust. And one of the first things when I had the first big experience in this life was when Jesus appeared in my room. And he manifested like a human being. It was a real experience. And he said three words: trust and let go. And let go was about surrender and trust. And those have been my biggest learning journeys so far. So it was right. It was my soul, you know, having a communication with my God self and just bringing those journeys up. So yes, Leanne, trust for me, huge. And we're really going into these areas, you know, when we are regarding each interaction we have as a learning experience, when we move into that perspective, and then we really understand what our teachings are. Trust is a big one for me.
Yeah, and that's when it's so important to discern the divine masculine from the false one, isn't it? Because it's actually good to surrender, or when it's how do you say that? When it's in alignment, to surrender, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we're learning to discern. Inside our inner compass, trust our inner compass, and you know, it's hard to recognize, Michael, as well. You know, what are the falsehoods? You know, what are the
predatory ones?
You know, but we don't always recognize it. There are people watching this who will maybe have patterns. They maybe have templates and patterns of even from past lives where they do not have the radar to recognize what a predatory relationship is, or what a relationship is that is not serving you, because your compass is off. You know, this is the reality.
If you've got attachment, you know, then your compass can definitely be off. So that's important to clear.
I think if you're seeking outside of yourself, you know, for completion, validation. You know, if you haven't actually tended to those wounds within yourself and allowed God source to touch you with those in those wounds and to heal you, you know, then you are vulnerable. And these, I think, people come along in your life to help you go deeper into your healing. You know, so that you know, you can find divine union within yourself and wholeness.
That is true. That's very
so beautiful, Leanne. Thank you. Beautiful wisdom.
Yeah, that's well said.
Cool.
Yeah. So let us know when you're ready for it.
Can I just do it's coming through. This is a divine masculine wound healing. So this is from the Arcturian collective. Okay, it's coming in now. Sorry, Kiata, Kaloma, Ika. Kia kurtai kakaro kamia tora kat ek uya kumtarik alot uya kumoi karotala kanoti materet ilikiaka onno hilak unnarind ilachrin tat kumaran nahrin narit isahale kat Kalarin hiantam kartos I kalo harikine koruka kata kai esha katatana pie kukuna karukata siata kumatotoro tuk alak ari ki kiatsakat ila karatas ara kala taka kata yanaka hiulurata ist matatata ik. Oh, say, just breathe that in, time hishkala. Still coming, goddess. Yes, a realignment for what you said there, Michael, with the discernment that sometimes we carry, the distortion in our field where we our radar is slightly drift, if you like, and that was some information to help people just if there is a slight distortion, just to correct it.
Thank you, Susanne, and thank you, Arcturians.
I felt there was a real balancing as well going on in both sides of my body.
Yeah, it's a hemispheric and you know, axial adjustment field as well, without going too technical.
And it also I felt that there was something about there being above, or not above, but beyond gender differentiation.
Yes, we do not have gender discernment in fifth dimension. A lot of fifth dimensional and other extra dimensional realms, we lose the gender. In Palladians, you know, they can choose or to have one or not. You know, it's a free choice. We don't actually have to have an express gender type. This is a human experience. We have chosen.
Well, in this life, I guess it'd be a bit weird if you didn't.
I guess because I'm pretty alien.
There are some people who you know, on this earth now we are. There is a word for it: pangender, pansexual pangender. Where you know, I personally, I know I'm in a woman's body, but I feel very much like that I am female, but I don't really have this specific gender. And it actually, when I was younger, I would have described myself as being a bisexual human being, and this caused me much you know, some friction, because, you know, I had to be, you know, was I heterosexual if I was with a man? Was I a lesbian if I was with a woman? You know, what was I? And, you know, when I was a teenager, obviously this was still an emerging kind of field. And now I just, I mean, I've got past it all, all of it. I no longer kind of see anything in that regard. I just regard it as energy and love. And so there is a shift, I think. I think there will be a shift. We've held very, very fixed archetypes and very fixed models, and society would love to delineate us so very much, but we are moving towards the acceptance of flow state. That is where we can accept and flow wherever we are is good. It's interesting though. That is it's another meaty area.
I mean, I like sort of playing with it as well. Not like just like rigidity, like just wear a hat, garland, or.
Why can't you? Why can't you dress in a dress and put flowers in your hair? What
exactly
is it that prevents you from doing
so
that?
I do it.
It's insane. If that's what's in your heart, it's such a joyful thing. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or if you're like the gayest guy.
Like when you go to the grocery shop and like all the white deodorant bottles are for the women and the black ones are for the men, right? Just buy the white.
Yeah, that's it. Look at the difference in the colours of the clothing which is available.
I feel so sorry for
all of the signals that are given to people, to men especially,
so unfair.
To shut down.
Shut
down your beautiful creativity, and yet we just rewind in linear time, just a little bit, to where men wore skirts, frock coats and had frills and ruffles, and actually the more outlandish it was, the more status you had, So something has happened to compress your ability to express your creativity, and I very much feel that will change.
I hope so. All the beautiful young people, the boys. I just think if you go into like Asda, George, or Man or something like that, it's just so boring. They're all grey, black.
It's boring, isn't it?
They're just like
or they've got fighting, and all of the kind of t-shirts that they have. Girls have all got unicorns, fairies, the signifiers, those sorts of things. The boys, it's like Avengers, Star Wars fighting. It's so stereotyped. It's when you really can feel it as an energy. I feel it as an energy rather than just a visual thing. I feel it intensely, and of course we're feeding these signifies to our children, the next generation. But the next generation, I know from having contact with so many people around the world with starseeds, that they are breaking out of the things that we're bringing to them. Thankfully now these starseeds are born with awareness, then we're not being closed, that we cannot close them no matter what we're doing to them. However we're compressing them, they're moving beyond it. They've been given carte blanche, and so they're going to call us. They're going to call us royally on what we're feeding them. And this is what will bring about, and this is what will catalyze the change. It will be the young generation.
Brilliant,
wonderful.
Well, that sounds like exactly like the rainbow.
This is the rainbow child aspect.
So that is exactly what you're saying.
The unstoppable builders of the new era.
So we're flowing there. This is the flow. Creation.
Oh wow.
Okay.
The Divine Mother has come through.
No surprise there then.
Oh, why not? Tell us about that.
The Divine Mother. Kai sola rota hikina yashito ikinu kuya tariata. Kalakonia moto tira shika leuia morayata. Il aretia sotum ira karukia mukuya kosela tum in a kusa. the Divine Mother will channel through me. Etala as ilata yeshula kum ata. My experience recently, part of this experience of earthing and grounding, and actually it's funny because this has been the last few days, just the last few days, and last night I wrote a post into the New Earth Mystery School with Martin McNichol is a group that I'm in at the moment, and I placed in that group a post which spoke about this, what I'm about to share. I had an awakening with the earth where over 3 nights I was rebirthed with pregnancy of the planet. So I know it might sound strange to a few people, but
That sounds amazing.
This is an initiation. It's an initiation that many people have been through in different experiences, but this was mine. And I was taken to a place which is familiar to me. It's a Lemurian archetypal place, a beach, and on this beach I met, or actually I was pregnant with the earth, and I was struggling, I was fighting. It was impossible. I put my hands on the earth, my hands became the earth, they were in the earth, my knees were on the earth, and I was just in contractions, and it was difficult. I was in a lot of pain, a lot of confusion, and the more that I fought, the weather came, the rain came, the storms came, and it was so dark and so stormy and so black, and I was fighting this pain so much that I thought I might actually die. It was a lucid experience. It felt very real. And then the woman appeared. This woman is the I suppose you could call her the archetype of the Earth Mother in a form. And she came and she soothed me, and she brushed my body, she brushed my back, she looked after me, and I birthed the earth, and the earth became a seed. And then the next night we buried the seed. We were drawing symbols on the sand, which is what it's expanded into some work for me. And then this became a council of light beings. So there was a lot more to it. I don't want to take the time. It was a very deep experience. It was an initiation. At the end of it was an opening that's continued into earthwork, into a deep connection with Gaia. I mean, at the very beginning, I felt all of the crappy stuff about the earth, the stuff that we don't really like to look at, the damage we're doing, the way we treat animals, all of what we call the dark expression of nature. And I took it in. I had to birth it before I could have the light, before I could have the beauty, the divinity. It's very, there's much I should be writing about this in my book at length. It's a deep initiation. It's a deep story of life and death and rebirth. After that, what's happened now is, as I have the earth experience and the Divine Mother does speak through me, I'm becoming more aware of it, and I'm not in denial of it, because obviously what happens is I'm not worthy, and what's everyone going to say if I start channeling the Divine Mother? Then I've been denying it. So recently, very recently, just in the last 10 days, I've come into an acceptance of this, and with that, the acceptance of the Christ consciousness of the Mary Magdalene, the Magdalene energy, the Sophia energy came to me on Saturday night. It was birthed into me with the dragons. I've always had them, but I was not accepting. I was not feeling worthy. This came in. Even talking about it now, you'll feel it. It's like the frequencies, the Sophia frequencies are so fine. That's just divine, just pure divinity. And I embodied this, and then on Monday night it was an awareness of the times perhaps when I have been seen, and I did walk the earth with the conscious being in a human form known as Yeshua ben Joseph, as Jesus, and I was present for his teachings and learnings, and I had that remembrance. And it's not the I when I say I, Susanne, it's an I of remembrance, because we are one, we all have this remembrance within us. It's just that the remembrance came and I embodied it. So it's now a connection I have between all. It's what I said at the beginning, like it's the beginning of I am embodiment of knowing your every star, every earth, every pen, the packet of crisps in front of you, the human being, that we are all of all time, in all spaces, in all dimensions, and that all we have to do, for all of that magnificence, for all of it, we just have to be present in ourselves in the moment, and that is all. For all of that expansion, that's the conclusion. It's insane that something that can be so expansive and crazy can also be so simple. And it's just to be present and in present acceptance. And I'm for all of that, I'm only just beginning to learn that. It's just the beginning. So very poignant. The Earth Mother is, to me, how we come to this earth to express divinity of everything. The earth is us, it's part of us, it's within us, it's everything, and it's holy. It's like, we are, it's so joyful, that it's like Allah Sai, of course, everything. When we embrace it, it's beautiful. But we spend our lives running around, don't see it.
Programming.
That's back to the banana. It's back to the banana. You don't notice me, and that is how it can be. But staying in that's a real learning journey in itself.
What a beautiful sharing, Susanne.
Thank you.
That is beautiful how you describe why it's so relevant for you at this time.
It brought to mind, and I must link you up with her, I feel, a friend of mine, Carmen Bell White. She channeled a very similar experience as your birthing the New Earth experience. She sings light language, and she brought through all the animals of the rainforest and the sounds of the rainforest. And I listened to it, just closed my eyes and was lying down and hearing it. And it was like all of the pain of the rainforest, was really physical. I could feel it. But then somehow by staying with it and just trusting, suddenly light came in and it all started to shift. And it was a really amazing, beautiful experience. And she's actually she's on SoundCloud, so I'll have to put a link.
I did just have something here that's important, is that we, at this current time, we are often focusing on the negative aspect, on the destructions, on the pain. We feel it deeply and intensively. And this is noted and appreciated by our galactic brothers and our galactic sisters. And what I'd like to say is this, that recognizing it is a positive attribute. We can change the future by our actions in this moment. However, putting our attention on the negative aspects of why these things happen does not serve us well. And that the true healing of this earth is in the carrying of light through our beings and through our bodies, by healing within, by healing all of the places within that are dissociated from the center. This is how we create the new world. This is how we create the new earth. This is how we create the reality. Every single tree, every single being, every single animal that is destroyed, that is hurt, has agreed to this experience. Everything is as it should be. And this is our learning. This is our deep, deep learning, that the only way that we truly heal is to heal our own being. And by doing that, we heal all beings. Every movement we make upon ourselves is a movement for every being in the entire universe, not just on Earth.
Yeah, I've experienced that as well, because, for example, like I can be in relationships, but it can be also in places like at this old bus station, and you got all these old energies and entities flying around, and you know, like at first you just feel it, but you're almost like absorbing it, and you can almost get stuck in that sort of heaviness, and then you just get to clear it, you know, so you guys it all out, and it just you know, clears the decks, not just for you, but also for that place. So,
everybody. Yeah, and that's what we do, you know. Even if you don't know Michael, you know, there's people walking around who will be not even aware of what they're doing on other dimensional levels, you know, yet they're still acting, but they're just not tuned in, like the radio frequency's not hit quite the right one so that they can hear and see it yet, but they're still doing it, you know. It's that's what we do. That's what we do.
So I'm hearing a lot of wisdom being shared, which is actually the crystal child as well.
Yeah, and I just want to say the key words for this card, which are a message for everybody, really. It's you know, it's come through. It's so true. You are loved. You are safe. Rest now and sleep well.
Before going to bed, isn't it, as well?
Oh my, start crying.
Oh,
it's just so divine. At the other, thank you. We are held. This time. We are held. We are so loved in all moments, with grace and ease.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, such a strong card. It's got so much power behind it, Leanne. The Palladians are truly with us. And just before we move on, I just want to share with you both that the first star being that came to me was Palladian, first contact, called Alderon. And Alderon is still with me. He was very quiet for a while, but will channel through, as he is an emissary for what we would identify as Palladian Council of 9, but in fact is not 9, nor just Palladian. But he is an emissary. And
I love that
yours was the first one that came for me.
Amara. We must have
Amara.
You know,
it was given by Archangel Michael. It was given to me by Archangel Michael, and it means infinite light, the infinite. Like it was, I can't say my holy name because it isn't a name that is to be said or sounded in a public form. But it's a deep meaning about the resonance of the universe.
Yeah, because I connect with a being from Sirius called Amara.
Yeah, it is a name throughout the universe, and it's a vibration, a holy vibration. Beautiful. And Syrian too, Karinaita.
Wow. Okay. So is that the crystal child? Wisdom vibration for the new earth. So I just heard a lot of wisdom being shared, so it's very appropriate. Oh, life language.
Thank goodness. For you.
If there's anybody watching this, right, who just might be sitting on the fence about readings with these guys, or you know, about the power of these cards, I just want to say this is what happens. This is what happens when you're in a field and you connect. The cards are they have a vibration with them. It's not arbitrary, and Michael, you're totally in tune with this beautiful energy, and this is what happens. It's totally, absolutely 100% relevant, and so
Thank you for saying that, Susanne.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Compliment as well.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful card.
This is actually not the finished artwork as well.
Oh wow! Okay,
By the deck.
it's very good.
But the light language got a bit overexposed at the top, so
Okay.
Oh yeah, because there are lots of symbols there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more defined in the new artwork.
Yeah. So like
really good.
wisdom vibration for the new earth. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
So I like the lotus as well. It's very relevant.
Yeah.
It's like it's just so. It's very beautiful card.
It's
Feel its vibration. Activating us all. That is down. That's it. That's one of the things that I am a catalyst for a great many things. This is my role here as an emissary from the whole universe, stars, whatever. I have memories. The memories. I have memories. I have memories from the stars, the galactic consciousness, the constellation frequencies, and I have remembered, and I remember when I speak as one for everyone, for all beings. For anything I remember is a remembrance within you. That I remembered within me. That I am a universal decoder for language, for light language, and I feel the language in everybody, in everything, the vibration. I've met other people who have the same remembering, so this was the best thing ever. The light language was remembered to me by two beings, two Orifim beings. These are angelic avian beings, and they took me outside of this universe experience into another way of being, into a plasmic field, into a field where there was no stars and no planets, just flow, just field flow. And they said to me that you will bring back to this earth the language of light. And at the time, I did not know what light language was. I just thought this was an insane experience. I was on a cacao ceremony doing holotropic breath work for an hour. And whatever the meditation was that the person was leading, and it was powerful, I was not in that. I was just doing this other thing, and came back, drew the beings, and just forgot about it really. But it was like kind of like an itch. There's something that was there, but I didn't know what it was, and then it just completely catalyzed a couple of months later, and it all erupted out. So it's been a big journey, light language, for me. It now defines my life. It forms. I speak as fluently in these forms in the language of the soul and the universe as I do in the English language. In fact, probably more comfortably so in other languages, and also catalyze it within others when they are working with me and in the presence of these vibrations. And so this is so relevant, Leanne, because I notice, and we both know, because we're in the same amazing group, that there are many people all over the world spontaneously just erupting with this language of the soul. And it's not a specialist subject that we go and study at university. It arises within us because it was always there, and we forgot simply. But because of a reconnection that happens in our light fields, in our light body, in the acetonial and axial light system, it reconfigures the parts of our brain so that then we connect with our heart and we understand. And it's a universal communication. It breaks past all of the things with our words and our meanings. It's one word,
mind, doesn't it? And into our
can carry a book of information. It's simple. It's a great way of doing it, and it comes in such a rich variation. But essentially, it comes from the heart, always from the soul.
Amazing,
wow,
isn't it?
I'm flawed. Because it is my life. I know I bring through the same as you, Leanne, you know, pictures, codes, timelines, my body moves, all these wacky sounds, you know, toning, and actually mostly now all of them at once.
Yeah.
You know,
That's really nice, yeah.
Beautiful.
Do you have some
we're
light
instruments.
language for us right now?
Yeah, I'll do a full one when I'm not. I'm just gonna. It's like, yeah, I'll stay sitting down, but I'll do it with the
Oh, lovely.
I would just ask you to come into your hearts. I know you're already into your heart, Alakana, and take a breath in and breathe down throughout your beingness. Italia Darusumara. Kalatatalokoi kuna katareti tonoreti ka haladatari nikiatos kulo reneti makadit iushula rana hina halahinta itututum shikatara naka hilutum eata im sikatatatata kun kot iskrutakan kitututukan kot yes urum dakatusilo kututun ya turutko elund krutkotita tatatata Kurum to go to room to go to room to go to scrutin. No, see a shorotato hilachniarin here to sit. Kusilo karin hare moes. Kolerin hare hus isian ahildos. Alachin tarihos ehalerisa. Sim. This will be a channeling from the Orifim, Aratstin. Akarata. This is joy. This is pure joy. Irata.
Amazing.
I can't go on a really high register to bring through the angelic, because if I do, it'll just book. The angelic frequencies that come through that, through the Elohim, through the Orifim channels, the registration's so strong. It's like opera, and it's so strong and so high. It's I don't know, alto or something.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't come through on this recording. I promise I'm going to get some good recording equipment so I can do it online. When I've done it in person, people's awareness transcends. It's a transcending language that allows the sensory transcendence to a higher frequency, so you can visually see the light.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I can hear them without sound.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
I can hear some and see some.
Yeah, Summerly, thank you. Yeah, obviously when I do this, people see all kinds of things. And I'm comfortable with whatever people see, because I understand that some of it is I have my own language, you know, natural language, but also when I'm a vessel, when I become a vessel, I can step back in various degrees. You know, I'm into from anywhere between a light trance to deep trance, and in that sense, the energy is then in a temporary overlay with my own, and so you will see the being, you will see the collectives, and it can flash. You can see things which are light, particularly angelic light, and all kinds of. That's what we
amazing,
see. I
Susanne.
see that with other people, when
So
they're doing the same
do you
thing.
individual sessions for people where you do that?
Yeah.
I
Yes,
love
I do
it.
something called soul mirroring, which
Okay.
is where, in fact, I've been doing it. I've been working. I gave up my regular job. I didn't give it up.
Oh.
I stopped because I was having enough people that were asking me to work with them. Even though I don't have a website, I don't even really have a page. It just has come through the universe sending me these people. But I've been guided now to actually set up a service so that people can access. And the main thing I do is soul mirroring, where the person or people or group, I'm going to do one tonight. I offer it free online. I will try and do a weekly session with groups so people can just access it anyway, because there's such a need. But I will tune into the field or the individual, and I hear the vibration and the patterns of what that person is, and I step back, and the soul and the aspects of that person's soul will speak through me to that person or to the group for the highest undoing, for the highest involvement of that individual at the time. And I just called it soul mirroring because that's what I was asked. I'm in service, so I'm
That's
just
absolutely
doing it.
amazing.
Might evolve. I mean, it
Wow.
does. It evolves into other things, into Akashic, into soul retrieval. But essentially, that's the gateway in. And I'm learning. I consider that. I was a regular healer for 15 years doing Reiki. I was an intuitive healer in denial, in complete denial. And I've remembered many extraterrestrial light frequency technology healing processes. I use them in my work. I journey people and I work with groups, individuals, and I love it. I cannot imagine a life of service that is more rich than being able to do this work. And I don't know where it'll go. I like writing. I'm being asked to write books right now, to go away, to withdraw, and to write as well. And that's what we do. We don't know, do we? How can we know? This is part of the surrender, but it is what I do, and I very much enjoy
That's great.
it.
So, if anyone sees this, what's the best way to connect to you?
Just through Facebook.
Okay.
Or on Facebook, you can always tag it onto the video. Just put my name, and I will have a website. I'm building one. I'm working on it. I want to do it. It's important that I wanted to do it with my own energy, and I'm not the most technically, in terms of that, gifted person, but it's important that I do take time and do it myself with my own energy, because that will come forth in all of the work I do. So just ask that if anyone is interested, just be patient. And I do have things I can give to you, and I will have a service on a page on Facebook so people can reach me, because I'm not hiding anymore. I'm not going to hide.
Brilliant.
I was a hider, like a lot of people, and it's understandable. I know we are bringing through new technology. We're bringing through ways of working which are new to Earth. And most of the development in this, we don't go to school, we don't go on a course, we do the work inside, and it is given to us, our unfolding, our remembering, and so it never stops. And a good half of the week is for me on personal development. This is it. This is every day. We never stop. It's a life commitment, and so that I can't be of service to you, to any other human being on this earth, unless I serve myself first and fill up that cup. And that's been the greatest lesson as well, to serve from that full cup, to serve from that place, and to put the time and the commitment towards that. and so that you can be of better service to everybody.
Yeah, I want to say I was a hider as well, in a way. I mean, pretty hide myself, but I was kind of following these non-dual teachings. So I was expressing myself, right? Because I was also just expressing these teachings. So that's one kind of clever way of hiding, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And we just so worried about what everyone's going to say.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
You know, I was so worried about what my children were going to say, my family, you know, but people that used to know me when I was, you know, like a scout leader and on PTA and, you know, all the stuff that we are regularly involved with. I was so worried, and it was just so constricting. The only way to be is to become yourself and it's you sometimes it just takes time, you know, and just wherever you're at right now also is to accept it wholly and to not judge yourself, to stop with this,
because otherwise you can feel like a secret agent, isn't it?
I often say we're all the human race are all guardians of the galaxy. It's just that we forgot.
But now that's no longer secret. So we've got
we're all awesome.
The Star Children card for you, the cosmic gift, the last one. Divine Blueprint.
Awesome.
That's what through from the guides.
There you go.
I guess a bit bigger as well on the here. Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
So that's all those codes, isn't it, that you're bringing?
Yeah, it is. I first saw the divine cosmic blueprint a long time ago. Like it was like the map of, if there is a map, because it's, you know, this is like virtual quantum fields. Was the map of all, and it was like, to me, you know, when we're given these things, we're given them as symbols or signifiers so that we can understand and comprehend, because it's incomprehensible really, the true nature of what we really are. So it was a carpet, and in the carpet was woven all these different universes, and the universes within those was the maps and the templates of everything. You know, that it's when we go into quantum field mechanics, the understanding of that everything is vibration and holds a pattern and a resonance, that everything we have is a divine blueprint, that everything we are is a divine blueprint, and it does come from patterns, from fields and maps, if you like. And this is a really good way of looking at it, is a map, a template that we're formed from, and even a single thought has a resonance, a template, but we have a divine blueprint. We do. It's our at all lots of different levels as well. I mean, the idea that we have one is maybe not it's easier to see it as one. I just think it's easier. It's less. I like simple, you know. It's less complicated. But when you really see it, it's in quantum field. It's not flat and it's not one.
So I want to ask, like, you know, if someone comes to you, Susanne, like in an individual session, let's say they've of rejection or another emotional issue. Let's say it's rejection.
Yes.
What, like, how does the divine blueprint come in? Like, for example, right? I mean, you can't say because channeled, but
well, it wouldn't. With any pattern, I mean, you could take that. That's a real core wound. Rejection is a real core wound for human beings. So with that individual, what normally happens if they were bringing that issue forth, it would come up as in different resonant field patterns. They're always given, they spring up. I just go into like the show me what it is this person needs. I am an open service. And what springs up, of course, is all of the patterns. You know, all of the dissociations from that blueprint. So when that soul came away from that perfection, how did it come away? And all of those other things that are on top of that perfection appear.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you can work collectively, because sometimes it's a number of things, and sometimes they are needing to learn and become aware of what the template is. Sometimes they need to know, sometimes they don't. So it's cleared automatically just by the fact that it's even come up now. It goes. But sometimes the awareness is needed so that they would be able to engage with that if they wanted to. And then we go for, sometimes there are ancestral patterns that this has been adopted through the lines of not just the human line, but also, you know, wider lines, wider lineages and galactic lines. They will come up if they're necessary. And then there is also collective reasoning for the distortions, and that's distortions at a human level, and they come up as well, and they get cleared off the top of that map. So it's not always like an immediate like I'm coming with rejection and then it's all totally gone, but often it's life-changing shift, because once all that baggage has gone, once all that baggage has been removed and transmuted, I mean, it's not removed, nothing's ever removed, it's transmuted into a different state, it's reframed into positive, into light, then the map, that original map, that original divine blueprint and template, that is then allowed to recalibrate through the human being, and it kind of collapses down, it filters down through all those fields into the human, into your real life experience, as you are no longer triggered by the things that trigger you. Your thought patterns will form from that new back end, from that new map. They form from the new place, and therefore your behaviors, your actions, your emotions and everything changes. Your perceptions change, because you've taken this pair of glasses off and you're now seeing without needing glasses. It's that simple. So that is, for any problem, for anything that we hold, that is like the basis of the deepest level of healing that you can have as a human being.
Isn't that amazing?
That's how it works with the
how that works.
You know, people call it all different types of things, but for me, I just like to keep it simple and say it's a soul essence process. You're just coming back to your I am, your source self. You already were that, you already are that.
Yes.
All you have is all the
consciousness back in line.
On top of it.
I was in there as well, you know, because I was like, this was in my 20s, and I was with this teacher, and anything that she said that was like slightly dismissive or slightly critical, I would feel rejected by that. And I had to kind of observe that and find another way to think about that and process these feelings as well. It's a big process sometimes, isn't it?
It's deep.
Yes.
And the way we can do it without working with anybody, just in daily life, is exactly what you say. When you're triggered by something, when you're triggered by somebody or something you read, there is a feeling. It's a feeling. You feel it somewhere in your body. You feel it's there's some movement, and you respond to it in some way. It could be a pain, a feeling, a thought. If you can be aware of that, and then go into, ask yourself, be still enough to hear, what is the meaning of this trigger? Where does it come from? You can go into that and begin to work on it. You know, there are beautiful processes. I'm going to be putting some online, actually, just simple things you can do to breathe, you know, just to become aware and to begin to reframe these things, you know, like the teacher, you know. The
was
naughty
like,
boy, you naughty boy.
yeah,
And it's
she was a
shutting down.
non-dual teacher.
Mm.
But
those
that's just it,
those are
isn't it?
good.
You know, we get triggered by all kinds of things all the
Yeah.
time. You know, it's just a peeling back, and
It's a
it's
gift.
when you have the big things, though, you know, and it can be helpful just to get guidance, and you know, and I do it myself. You know, I've got to say openly, I have mentors, I have processes with people, it's not you're not seeking something outside of yourself. You're seeking a reflection. You're seeking
Right.
somebody who will reflect to you the things that you need to become aware of, and how to learn. If someone's just saying they're going to take away all of your stuff, well, you're seeking outside of yourself. You're looking for absolution, but that isn't really the solution to your deepest wounds. We're moving into a stage where we're recognizing that, I hope, the days of someone else is going to just take it all away and heal all my wounds are over, you know, because it can be restorative to receive a healing from somebody and to receive energy, but it won't actually do the shadow work for you.
You have to be able to go there into the wound to open to the light, don't you?
Yes.
Really.
Yes, and we need to just start to demystify it and to take away the fears and the distortions around doing that type of work, because we don't actually, you know, the causes of depression, the causes of mental disturbance in a great number of cases is the denial of expression, and is the disconnection from the body and the emotional and mental fields. There's disconnects there. So, you know, the way to actually do it is to do the work. It isn't by staying in the wounds and, you know, having this righteous suffering. Those days are gone. We can shift energy state instantaneously. We're quantum multidimensional beings, and we have this ability, all of us. Even if you think you don't, you do have this ability inside, and the way that we do it is on the breath. You know, these are such simple things. All of the old teachings are so valuable for us, just to be present and to recognize the signals and the signs and come into presence, and to lose the fear. You know, you're not even losing fear, it's just to be with it and not to push it away and say, yeah, okay, here comes the fear, it is fear, and then what is the fear, where does it come from, how did it arise, what part of me is speaking that, because we're dissociated and split into many parts through our life. So by opening up these communications and bringing them back into our being, we then become whole. And you know, this is it, this is how we are. It's a journey. So yeah, all of this work, you know, readings are so deep because you are able to explore through the synchronicity of what comes through those aspects of yourself. And then, you know, you've reminded me today of all of these amazing parts of me, you know, these amazing things. You've reminded me that when we do work like this, the wisdom that needs to come through will come through, and I just need to surrender. It's such deep teachings. I'm really grateful, so thank you guys.
It's been amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful light language and singing and toning and wisdom. It's been wonderful, and I'm sure everyone will get so much from it, you know, watching.
Yeah, I'm going to do more. I'm going to do I want to have more conversations just like this with people. I don't know what to call it yet, but we're going to call it something.
Yeah.
Something.
I think it exposed that bridge, doesn't it? That we talked about between the high self and the earth journey, and it kind of shows that
the higher self and the ascension of the earthly self.
And it kind of shows that, you know, everyone that we've, you know, had as a guest who's also a facilitator, that they also have their own journey and aspects, isn't it? Including us, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how it, you know, that everyone can relate to as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most important thing is that I would say in closing is that, you know, when I first started out, it was the experience. I was lost in the experience. I got spiritual elitism. You know, it's like, oh, these are so special. These experiences. Everyone's experiences are unique and they're important, but it's the lessons that we learn from those experiences. It's the wisdom that it unfolds, and so whatever you're experiencing is right, but know that you are not alone. That you are not alone. There is a family of people, and as your vibration shifts and changes, you begin to attract those people into your life. So if you're listening to this, this is the cue. This is the cue. You know, you resonate with people and connect with them. We need to connect with people, no matter what your wisdom, no matter what you remember, no matter what star system you think you're from a billion star systems. We are here to bring through this wisdom in a way that people can understand and access, and learning to communicate, like through cards, through paintings, through speech. It doesn't matter. However that is the gift for us, for all of us, is to learn to communicate with each other.
Absolutely.
Did you want to add something in closing
I
as
was
well,
just going to
darling?
say, to attune, you know, like your last card, to your divine blueprint, which is more than any kind of two-dimensional thing. It is a quantum thing. Is held within, you know, the heart of source, and that a part of you is conscious of your being within source, and that you are source. You know, you are a part of source. You're made of source, and that we're bringing that light into our everyday life, with all the magic that brings, and all the gifts that brings, and that this journey, you know, that we're on, that we've been on, bringing the spiritual truth of ourselves into our lives, you know, it is a beautiful journey. And we start to realize, you know, that we are part of a massive family, and that's a very beautiful, amazing, fun and gorgeous thing. We're just starting to, I feel, unwrap, you know, the gift of our birthright as children of God, and this is a wonderful kind of Christmas day every day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leah. Such wisdom, such deep wisdom. Thank you. Feel it in my heart when you speak. It resonates so deeply. Thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
It's definitely true.
Oh, yes, it's true. Hallelujah.
Yeah, wow. So big hugs.
Yeah.
Light body hugs.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to hear a message from Archangel Michael as well?
I would love to hear
I felt that coming through.
Yes, let's have a message.
I am Archangel Michael. The codes and the words are the same. They are equal because they all come from Source. When you use light language codes, when you use words in English or another language, in both of these, you are putting your frequency. You're infusing the communication with your frequencies. Whether you are bringing through a message or speaking from your so-called personality cell, or if it appears as that, it is an equal emanation of light. Allow all to flow. Allow all to be. Both the so-called mundane, eating, walking, sleeping, and the spiritual codes are equally spiritual. Your angelic guides are around you when you're listening to this message, when you are receiving this message. And they are comforting you, they are holding you in love under their wings. And no belief is required. These messages, these light family connections can soothe any pattern of thoughts, any belief in inadequacy, or any inner conflict. Allow these elements to be smoothed out in your consciousness so that they can naturally dissolve or transmute into light, your light self. I am Archangel Michael. I love you all dearly. Anyone connecting to this transmission, thank you for receiving my messages.
Wow.
Mm.
Oh, yes. I thought that
Mm.
Archangel Michael's been a guide for me for some time now, and I can feel him actually standing with me. It's actually still a little bit in my right arm, actually with his arm through my right shoulder, really intensively feeling your words and your presence spoken through your being. But the actual essence, it's still going through now. It's such a beautiful energy. Archangel Michael consciousness energy. It's very wise, very beautiful words. So pure.
You feel it so deeply.
So deeply felt. Deeply. Thank you.
That makes it, brings it alive even more when it's received like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful to hear that spoken through you. It's a real gift. Real, yeah. So, yeah, he's really been he was my guardian last year when I was really in the dark night of the soul. He really was there and advised me in those words. That is the way, the language. It's very, he doesn't take any prison. There's no messing. Yeah, there's no messing, but it's so gentle as well. Even though he's a guardian, even though he's strong, he doesn't take any shilly-shallying. It just goes straight to the truth, always the truth, and that keeps you in your centre line. He's at Saint Germain's come forward now for the next bit more for me. But he has been with me constantly, and I appreciate that. When I hear it in others, I really appreciate it.
Lovely.
Yeah, wow. Sword of healing.
Mm.
Deep.
Much for
Thank
connecting.
you, Michael.
That's yeah. Really give each other a light body hug.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. I just got to say it. You guys are
Thank you,
completely
Susanne.
awesome. I love you. All of the work that you're doing is so it's beautiful. The creation, the love with which you hold the space, devotion to service. Thank you. I know this is not just, it's coming through me. Also, thank you.
Beautiful. So love you all.
Yes, yeah.
And bye to everyone that's watching.
And it's been amazing.
See you in another space in another time.
Yeah, and hope to connect again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
You'll be back in Glastonbury soon, won't you, for another light circle or something?
Yeah, you guys can come. When I can set it up, you guys can come and have a chat with me. I'd like to learn more about what you do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Speaking to people that follow me, I'd love you to do that.
Yeah.
We'll all meet up, definitely. Well, let's say goodbye to the viewers.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.